Hi, friends. Welcome back to the Kindness Advantage. I'm your host, Cindy Rowe, and in 10 minutes or less, we are going to explore how to bring kindness into every corner of your life. Today's episode is one that might challenge how you think about kindness, because we often think of kindness as something we give to others. But the truth is, kindness starts with you. So let's start with an honest question. How do you talk to yourself on a tough day? When you make a mistake, when you're overwhelmed, when you're not showing up the way you want to, is your voice kind or is it critical? Because here's what I've learned, both personally and through work I do, is that we can't constantly give what we don't practice internally. See, there was a time in my life where I was pouring into everyone else. I was encouraging others, supporting others, showing up for them. But behind the scenes, I was seriously exhausted. I was hard on myself, and I never felt like I was doing enough. Does that sound familiar? Have you experienced that too? On the outside, it looked like kindness, right? But internally, it felt like pressure. And maybe that's something you've realized too, right? And that's honestly when I realized something that you can be kind to everyone else and still be unkind to yourself. And that disconnection, well, it's going to catch up to you. So there is science behind self-kindness. This isn't just a mindset shift, it is backed by research. I've mentioned her before, but Dr. Kristen Neff, one of the leading researchers on self-compassion, found that people who practice self-kindness experience lower anxiety and depression, greater emotional resilience, higher motivation, not lower, and it reduced their burnout. And here's the part that surprises people. Self-compassionate people are more likely to take responsibility for their actions and improve, not less. So self-kindness, well, it isn't letting yourself off the hook. It's actually creating a safe environment for growth. Research also shows that chronic self-criticism activates the body's threat system, which increases cortisol and stress levels. But self-compassion activates the care system, which lowers stress and increases feelings of safety. What else does that mean, really? In other words, it's the way you talk to yourself is either helping you regulate or keeping you stuck in stress. And to me, I think that's pretty powerful. Kristen Neff also said that with self-compassion, we give ourselves the same kindness and care we'd give to a good friend. That's simple. But when you think about it, would you talk to your best friend the way you talk to yourself? Speak kindly to yourself is such a big part of self-kindness. So why does this matter for everything else? Here is the connection. When you're hard on yourself, you're more likely to be reactive, be impatient, feel overwhelmed, and burn out faster. But when you practice self-kindness, you regulate faster, you respond instead of react, you create emotional stability, you show up better for others. So this isn't about being selfish. This is truly foundational. So here are 3 ways to practice kindness as self-care. Let's make this actionable, right? Change your internal language. Instead of, I should be better at this, try, I'm learning. Instead of saying, I messed up everything, try, Well, that didn't go how I hoped, but I can grow from it. Language shapes experience. Number 2, normalize your humanity. On hard days, say this: this is just a human moment. I'm not a failure. It's not a flaw. A human moment. That alone reduces emotional intensity. And how about the third one? Give yourself what you freely give to others. Think about how you show up for people you care about. You're patient, you're encouraging, you're understanding. Now ask, what would it look like to give that same energy to myself? That's self-kindness. It's a reframe that changes everything. Kindness, or self-kindness, rather, is not weak, indulgent, or avoidance. Self-kindness is regulation, awareness, emotional intelligence, and sustainable energy. It's how you keep going without breaking down. Believe me, I've experienced it. I am sharing firsthand. I've been there, so you don't have to. And if you've been there, then you know this is a wake-up call. These are simple shifts. And you are so, so, so worth it. And there's a ripple effect here too. When you treat yourself with kindness, you don't just feel better, you speak differently. You lead differently. You respond differently. And you show up differently. And people feel that. Kindness starts within, but it never stays there. If you take one thing away from today, let it be this: you deserve the same kindness you give freely to others. Not after you achieve more, not after you prove something, right now. This week, notice how you speak to yourself. And when you catch that critical voice, I want you to pause and replace it with something kinder. Like physically speak it out loud. Replace it out loud with something kinder. There is magic in that. And hey, if this episode resonated, I would love you to share it with somebody who might be carrying more pressure than they let on. And if you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. And hey, if you're new here and you have not left me a review, the review means the world to me. It's the biggest kind act you can do for me and this podcast, because when you do that, more people see this, and we need a kinder world. And remember, kindness starts with you, right? So until next time, I want to remind you that kindness doesn't start out there. It starts with you. And like we end it every day, kindness, together, we create a world of kindness. I messed that part up. And you know what? I'm going to restart it, right? I hit the wrong tab. This is not edited, and I do that for authenticity reasons. I rarely mess up. But together, I'm doing it again. I'm going to start the ending again. Together, we create waves of change through kindness. Thanks for tuning in.